tutorial on how to use the Geometry Sketchpad. This is not comprehensive, meaning that not every single thing is in this video, but I'm going to go over some basic tools that you can use. So first, let's open the Geometry Sketchpad. If you have trouble finding it, what I usually do, I just go to my search and I type in GSP5 and it pops up in applications. What's going to pop up is it's going to say this copy is not yet registered. Please don't purchase one or register. We're just going to do the preview, so it limits our sessions to 20 minutes. Let's click preview. If you notice, you should see a toolbox. If you have trouble seeing your toolbox, hit display. And you see how it says hide toolbox here. If yours wasn't showing, it might look like this. Hit display, so it's show toolbox. There you go. Okay, so now that we all have our toolbox open, if you notice this button here where my mouse is over, you see that cursor. Let's click on that. That's going to help us move things around. I can use that tool to select and highlight. This tool is the point. If I want to just put a few points on the document, I can do that. If I want to move them around, I'm going to click here back on the cursor, and look, I can move this point around. I can unhighlight it by clicking the white space, move the other points around, unhighlight by clicking the white space. The next thing I can do, if I want to name these points or label them, I can click here the letter A. You notice that? I can highlight over those points and it'll automatically name those points for me. If I really wanted to spell a different word, I can use my cursor to put them in order. And let's say I double click that point, or not the actual point, but double click the letter. And you notice this as label. Let's say I change that to the letter E. If I wanted to change, if I wanted to highlight all 3 points at one time, I can just drag my cursor and it'll highlight all 3 points. If I wanted to delete all 3 points, now that they're highlighted, I can hit my delete button. But I didn't want to do that, so let's undo. I'm going to click on the white space to not select those anymore. So here is a circle, the circle tool. I'm going to make a circle if I want to make it really big or really small. If I want to move it around, I click back on my cursor and I can move this circle around. If I want to change the color of the circle, highlight it, I go to display, color, and I can make that red. If I want it to make the line thicker, I can make it a thicker line. Let's say I want to color the inside of the circle. Let's highlight it, go to construct, circle interior. When you do that, you have to make sure nothing else was highlighted. Let's change this color. Let's make sure nothing else is highlighted, so just click in the interior. Let's click that interior space. Let's change the color. Let's change that to blue. Okay, if I wanted to make the circle bigger or smaller, remember I could adjust. Let's make some line segments. So I could actually connect it to the circle if I want. It'll highlight. I can drag. I want to make it look like a little sun. Or if I wanted to just make a segment independent of that picture. I want to change the color of the segment. Now that it's still highlighted, display, I can change the color if I'd like. Click on the cursor. If I want to move it around, I can do that. If I want to name the endpoints, so let's click again on the blank space, the white space, go to my tool here, and let's name that. Let's say I wanted to make some angles in the picture. So let me draw another segment that intersects this one. I'm going to make this line, I'm going to highlight it and make that a different color. Let's make that green. Click on my cursor again, so I don't want nothing selected. Now let's click on a point because I want to highlight the point where these two lines intersect. And you notice it'll kind of naturally show you where that point of intersection is. And let's name that point. I'm going to click again on the letter tool and it'll name that point for me. I'm going to name the other points in this scenario. The other things in the picture are distracting me right now, so I can just highlight them all and delete. Because I really want us to concentrate what I have here. Say I wanted to move this whole thing, I can highlight them all and move them all together. So now let's say I wanted to measure some angles in the picture. So I want to measure the angle here. Let's say I want to name that angle 1. Well, I can click here on my letter tool and create a little text box and type in the number 1. I can make another text box and type in the letter 2. I can make a third text box, and I can make a fourth text box. If I want to measure these angles, I'm going to click again on my cursor tool, and let's measure angle 1. Well, if I look at the picture, another name for angle 1 is angle GFE. I have to highlight it in that order. Just now I clicked out of that text box. It was distracting me. So angle 1, GFE. So I'm going to click in that order, GFE. You notice nothing else was highlighted in this picture. I'm going to go to the toolbar which says Measure, Angle. When I click on that, it gives me right away the measure of angle GFE. It says measure of angle GFE is 121 degrees. Let's find the measure of angle 2, which is angle EFH. Make sure nothing else is highlighted. So I click on that white space, E, F, and H, and I measure that angle. It's 59 degrees. So that's just an example of some of the tools that we can use here. Let's say I wanted to write something or just highlight these pictures. I can click on this tool. I'm going to change the color. Okay, so I'm going to click so I can drag. So let's see, I wanted to shade this in, or I just wanted to draw a smiley face. I could do that. And there are other features here that I didn't talk about. There's this tool here that we might not need to use right now. But primarily I wanted you to know how to make these segments, how to measure angles, and write in the text box. Let's say you wanted to name, say, hi, this is my project. Miss Addison's project. I can do that. I wanted to change the color of my writing for another line. If I wanted to write in some math notation, you notice that little button there. You write the angle sign, the degree symbol, scroll down, and there are other symbols I could use. If I look here, there is even some geometric symbolism that I could use. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys some time to play around with it, and then there's an assignment I'd like for you to do.